Hi there, Mr. Biggers here, and today I'm going to show you how to work through these factoring worksheets for the day. If you're doing this in November of 2024, you will have to take a picture of your work and submit that to Canvas however you choose to do so. If you do that outside of school, you're obviously welcome to use your phone and Canvas app to do that. Also, if you are in class, you can use your webcam to do that as well. But you will not be turning in any paper for this. I'm going to go ahead and show you how I would do these. This first maze is really super easy to do because all of these are already factored for you. So to begin, I'm just going to start here with A. So it's a maze. So as you get the correct answer, you'll shade in the correct answers. So I've got x plus 5. You have to set that term equal to 0. And then I've also got this term, the x plus 1 is equal to 0. Then you're going to solve both of those. So minus 5. Ooh, didn't mean to put the ruler. Minus 5 over here. So you have x is equal to negative 5. Over here, you'll minus 1. X is equal to negative 1. So the correct solutions for this is 5 and negative 1. So you'll shade that. Then next you'll do E. So same kind of thing here. For this one, you'll do 2x minus 5 equals 0 and x minus 3 equals 0. So hopefully you get the idea there. These are already factored for you, which makes your life really super easy to figure out the answers. So complete the maze. You should be able to, because they're so simple, write your work on here. So you should be good to go. Now on the next page is where things get a little tricky. So you're going to solve each equation by factoring, then solve the riddle by matching the letters inside the box. These ones are more challenging, so you might want to look back at some of the old videos in the notes, but I'm going to show you how to do example A, okay? So I've got negative 2m squared plus 78m. I'm going to copy this down on my worksheet. So negative 2m squared plus 78m plus 236. Oop. Equals negative 8m squared minus 4. Okay, so this one is looking ugly. So I'm going to go ahead and solve for 0. So remember, our first step to factoring is to get it equal to 0. So that's going to add to that. This is going to add to this. Those cancel out, and then we'll be equal to 0 from there. I'm probably going to have to go into the next box for the work too. So this is going to be 6m squared plus 78m plus 240 equals 0. Looking at these numbers, it looks like they could either have a 3 in common or a 6 in common. So what I'm going to do is, in my calculator, I'm trying this now. I'm seeing does 78 divide by 6? And it does. So what I'm going to do is factor out the GCF next. If you are listening to this and people around you are not, and they are kind of confused, I would recommend that they turn the audio on so that way they can hear the explanations for this. That is your next step. So I factored out the greatest common factor. Then you factor as normal. So we have factors of A times C. So let me do a different color here. Let's do green. So factors of 1 times 40. So factors that multiply to 40. And remember, we want to add to be 13. So I'm thinking here, what are some factors of 40? And I've got 1 times 40. I've got 2 times 20. I don't think it divides by 3. I've got 4 and 10. I've got 5 and 8. And once you find a pair that adds to 13, that's your pair that works. 5 times 8 multiplies to 40 and adds to 13. So that's what we're going to use. So that 5 times 8 is going to split that middle term. So then you're going to rewrite it as m squared. This is me splitting my middle term, plus 5m plus 8m. And then we still have the plus 40. Try to keep my colors organized here. This is when you factor by grouping. So I'm going to group my first two and then my second two terms. So my first two terms both have an m in common. So I'm going to factor out an m, and I'm left with m plus 5. My second two terms right here both have an 8 in common. So I'm going to divide out an 8, and you'll get m plus 5. Since your insides are the same, m plus 5 is one factor, and then your outsides, m plus 8 is another factor. Don't forget, we also still have that 6 that's multiplied out in front that we have in this step right here when we factored out the greatest common factor. So I'm going to rewrite that as well. Remember, all of that is equal to 0 when we solve it by factoring. So you are going to have m plus 8 equals 0, 6 equals 0, which we know doesn't work, and you'll have the other term, m plus 5 is equal to 0. When you solve all that, these will be your answers. If there's not enough space on this paper to do your work, I provided another space as well, and then you can also use notebook paper if you need it. But this is for part A. Pause the video, rewind. I didn't number any steps. I kind of just talked about it as I went through. But that would be my work for part A. Kind of a challenging one, but you'll see something like T, not as challenging. You can also use Desmos if you use X for that to check your answer. You can also use the quadratic formula to check your answer, okay? And honestly, if it's something difficult like this, I don't care if you use the quadratic formula, just show your work, okay? But I would prefer for you to factor so you can get some more practice with that. So the answer is -8 and -5. So -8 and -5 is right here. So I'm gonna put my A right there. And then you just keep going through the letters and you'll end up getting your riddle. So make sure you record your answers and then submit that to Canvas when you get it done. I would recommend doing this the whole period. This is homework if you don't get it done in class, so make sure you get it done and turn it in.